Hello everyone, Lewis Crompton here, and this is not financial advice. Have you ever wondered how to get started in property investment or how to take it to the next level? Then this video is for you. Now, I've been investing in property for over 6 years now, and I'm going to share with you what I believe to be the best way that you can get started. Whether you have no money, some money, or all of the money, if you want to learn about how to do money better, how to make more of it in even less time, then make sure that you like this video and you subscribe to this channel and set the alerts wherever they are too. Now, dare I have another video where I attack the common held beliefs around property that the gurus out there want you to believe? Well, maybe this video will contradict some of them, or maybe it will agree with some of them. Time will tell. In case you don't know about me and how I was able to get started investing in property, I started my investment journey a little over about 9 years ago now. So I have been around the block, no pun intended, had success, had failures, and learned a heck of a lot about investing, about myself, and about other people. Lots of stories behind that comment. Now, I started investing life as a doe-eyed 24-year-old looking to get out of the rat race, travel the world, and be able to make money anywhere while doing it. I heard about trading financial markets, specifically Forex, and decided to pay tens of thousands of pounds that I didn't have to learn the skill from Rich Dad Poor Dad, aka Robert Kiyosaki, if you've heard of him. The rest, as they say, is history after that fateful day in Tottenham Court Road. Now, I put the work in. I dedicated myself to learning, and after 7 months, I left my job and started trading full time. I then started traveling, as was always the plan, and as is the plan for a lot of my mentees, and then started teaching for Rich Dad Poor Dad within about a year of leaving my job. So I'm good at trading and I'm great at teaching. So I combine my passions. Through the success I had with trading, I started to connect with other investors, many of whom were making money in property. And I took the profits that I was making in my trading account and decided to start using them for property investment. What I have just done there is I've actually given you 2 keys that you will need to use in order to start investing. Well, actually 3 keys now I think about it. I think about what I actually just said then. Number 1, you need to dedicate yourself to learning. Do the work. You cannot shortcut this. That may mean mentorship or it may mean the school of hard knocks. With property, I have had both. And if you think that property investing is going to be an easy way for you to make money, you are wrong. It isn't, and there are some really key things you need to identify before you get yourself involved with property investment. First of all, where are you going to actually invest? Do you want this to be local to you? Can you afford for it to be local, or are you going to have to be forced to travel because of your budget? And are you even willing to travel the distance to invest in property? Can you afford the time that it's going to take to travel and the impact that that travel is going to have on your life and your relationships? Are you going to look for the properties yourself? What strategy are you going to be using? And does the strategy you want, that you want to use, does it work in the area that you want to invest in? Lots of things to consider. Now, one way you can check that is using simple online tools like Rightmove. There are properties on there that you can find which may fit your strategy, so you can check there. What rent do they demand? Does the rent mean that you get a decent ROI for the money you have spent on acquiring and managing that property? Does it all actually make sense? Do the numbers add up? Now, I was coaching a small business owner the other day who owns a small business, and they started talking about property investment in their local area because they could use their business to do some of the work on the properties. Sounds good, but it's only good if the property deal itself makes enough money to pay his core business, pay his staff, and pay him for the work that they would do. So we ran the numbers. We checked the strategy in the area. We accounted for all of the costs that it would take. We factored in potential void periods. We factored in maintenance costs, and everything that we could think of was factored in. Obviously, I know a lot of them because I've been doing this for a long time. Now, at the end of it, he would have left money in the deal. Now, that is very, very normal, by the way, to leave money in the deal. And then he would have been making an ROI of, I think it was about 3%. Now, just so you know, that is not a good return. It's not enough return to take the risk and do all of the work that is required for an investment property. We can do better and we do better. We did learn though, by correct analysis and research, that his initial strategy idea would not work in that particular area. If he had have just gone for it because property is a good investment, then he would have been incredibly upset about the result, and he would have been very upset about the ROI, the return on his money. So how did I know what to look for? Simple answer, mentorship. And I have made these same mistakes in the past as well. And now I can help others to avoid those mistakes. If it hadn't been for mentorship I'd received, then I never would have known how to go about it. The second thing you want to consider and you want to do is you want to get connected with other investors, or at least with people that you will need to help you through your property investing journey. At very minimum, you will need a solicitor, specifically a conveyancing solicitor. I know a really good one if you are looking. I use them for all of my property deals, including my own home. I use them to buy this house as well. One of the things that my mentor taught me very, very early on was GARP, GARP, a weird word, but it stands for the first key. Get around the right people. Property is not a solo game. It takes a team of people to make property investing work. There are bits you can do by yourself, but that can be a false economy. Doing certain things yourself can be a massive energy drain and make your learning curve even steeper and take even longer. And all of that does is cost you money. For example, I had a property this past week become vacant. 2 days later, it was tenanted. This all happened while I was taking open bus tours in Portugal. My property team handled everything and just told me about it after. That is the power of a great team. Shout out to Hina. They did what they do and I do what I do, travel and help my mentees. If you want property to be as passive as possible, then you are going to need a team in place. Who are we talking about then that we need to have as part of this team? You are going to need mortgage broker, letting agent, estate agent, you're going to need tenants, builders, tradespeople, surveyors, solicitors, marketing team, cleaners. Depending on the style of property investment you go for in terms of what strategy, will either add to or take away from that list. My personal preference is buy-to-lets and social housing. My goodness, there is a lot of moving parts where property is concerned. It's insane. Trading, by contrast, has just me in the market to deal with. So much easier. Now, depending on the amount of capital you have, may dictate which property strategy you can actually go for. If you have under £25,000, then really you'll need to go for a non-ownership investment strategy. So here I'm talking about subletting, basically in various forms. That may be rent to rent, or it may be rent to serviced accommodation. Lots of people are making lots of money doing that. Lots of people are losing lots of money doing that as well. And there's lots of scumbags out there selling and sourcing dodgy rent to rent deals. So be very, very careful and know that it will take a lot of work. You need to learn, not even learn, you need to master the numbers and the comparables in property. That is where you will either soar or sink. And if you are interested in property investment, I know the best people to help you start that journey. So make sure that you reach out. There isn't really anybody you could need to talk to in property that I couldn't introduce you to. That's what happens when you have been in this game as long as I have. I do believe investing is a game. Money is a game. Now, if you have over £25,000, then you could look into a number of ownership strategies such as buy-to-let, HMO, flips, construction projects. It really depends on your risk appetite and depends on the level of capital that you have access to. What I would suggest for getting started is to go for buy-to-let if you've never done property. It's probably where I put most people, and this way the numbers are lower, it's lower risk depending on the area that you're in, and it lets you gain experience in the property world before going for the larger, the bigger, the more exciting deals. It will also be a good way to test out some of that team that you have to see how they perform before the stakes get higher. What would be a terrible idea is to go and use a team you haven't tested before on a big flip project at the start of a global pandemic and then end up losing £30,000 instead of making £30,000. Who would do that? Me. I would do that. I did do that. And I want to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that I have over my nearly 10 years of investing across multiple different asset classes. You can look at one of my previous videos where I talk about how it is that happened to me, how I had such a big loss. You can check that on the channel. The more money that you have to start with, the more options that you have. That is categorically true. Now, the third thing to consider is have a cash generator outside of property. I can't stress how important and helpful this is. One of the big mistakes I've seen property investors make is they leave their jobs far too soon. Giving up that income stream will impact you in a multiple of negative ways. The problem is people become obsessed with wanting to leave the job like it's a badge of honor, when really it's just ego. I know because it was ego for me. I should have stayed in my job for a lot longer and grown my trading account even quicker and bigger than I did. But that is a story for another day and for another video. When you leave your job, you make it harder to get mortgages. We're talking about property investment here. You have also given up a source of income that you can rely on when property is being difficult, or you have a major expense you hadn't factored in with a property deal. You may also find yourself less productive because the job gave you a framework that you could operate in and that kept you productive. Now, don't get me wrong, that cash generator doesn't have to be your job. You could get it from somewhere else as long as you are generating cash somewhere out of your business. For me, I have cash flow coming in from multiple sources, the main one being my own trading and other forms of investments, and my business as well, my education business. That allows me a greater pot to draw from, greater financial stability, and great peace of mind when one of them dips in a month. Wouldn't you like that peace of mind too? Wouldn't you like to be making stable income from, say, trading just 30 minutes a day and using that capital to reinvest into other assets like property? Relying solely on property and the income from that is a tricky creator for money unless you are absolutely smashing it, and it will likely take a number of years to get to that point. Of course, you can rapidly speed up the process by using private investors, and what I mean by that is using other people's money, OPM, to invest into the property. Definitely doable. I've done this as well. I've both borrowed from private investors and I have loaned out to property investors as well. I've been on both sides of the coin, and actually I still am. I give people very healthy returns on their money when they choose to invest with me without them having to do any of the work. I also loan out my money too. Diversify, baby. It's all about multiple streams of income. It is what it's all about. That's where you want to get to. Now, it has taken me years to end up with multiple asset classes. If I was to start again, I would have gone even harder on trading, not left my job so soon, grown my account to a ridiculous amount, and then dumped loads of it into property in cash. No reason you can't do the exact same as what I did. And there you have it. A few top tips for how you can get started in property. So make sure you do it safely if you're going to go out and do it. And if you want to learn more about how to do money better, how to make more of it in less time, then like this video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you share this video with someone who you think is going to help or you think it is going to inspire. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you set those alerts on. My name is Lewis Crompton, and this is not financial advice.